to pick out a couple of planes and fly, you know, probably a two-player dogfight out, which is a little weird. Ideally, you have one player per pair, simply so that they can't see each other's hands. But obviously, if I'm playing solo opponents, you know, against each other, I might as well be playing multiple on a side. These new plane cards were a bitch and a half to sort. First of all, they were not sorted as I would expect, which would be the plane and its wingman together. Let's find a fighter. These are all older German planes. They're bombers. Let's get to oh geez, there's got to be a fighter before this. That's there, but let's take a look at this. So here's the BF-109G. It has a date that it's available, and I decided I wanted to sort mine by date. Well, the BF-109G comes with a wingman which does not have the date on it. And again, these aren't close to each other in the deck. All the wingmen are like separated into one set. They may be in order in terms of like planes versus wingmen, so that it's easier to find than I thought it was. But basically what I was doing was I was sorting all the cards by date, because when I play the campaign I'm going to need that. Now, we have an extra BF-109G wingman here. I don't think I have an extra BF-109G fighter with the date on it. I just don't think that I do. I'm not sure why that would be the case. That's another issue, which might be a problem, or it may be that I just, you know, screwed up in my sorting. But so it was very hard to find the fighter wingman pairs in the initial deck. More than that, though, what you'll see is in a lot of cases there's only one copy of a plane, a pair of planes. Look, you know, you got like a limit to how many cards you can put in a given box or whatever. But when I had the original game, I don't think, I don't know, maybe like the Polish plane only had, you know, one fighter wingman pair. But anything that was at all common came with a couple of different copies of each plane, so that you could fly, you know, at least 4 planes of the same kind out there, no matter what the situation. And it's a little fucked up, because flights generally were homogeneous planes, so you're going to be in a kind of screwed up position, unless of course you photocopy and create your own cards, or maybe order additional cards from GMT. That was a little disturbing to me. Well, more than a little. Now I have the fighter and bomber packs, which aren't going to match the modern cards exactly, but there was something I forgot about them. I think I had noticed this when I first saw it. They don't come with individual cards. They come with sheets of cards that you have to cut. They're not pre-cut. And I think my wife has a paper cutter. When I'm awake and in good shape, able to face cutting in a straight line with a paper cutter, which still takes a little bit more dexterity than I have at this point. I'm rather tired right now. I wasn't able to fall asleep. Wanted to take a nap, but in some ways it's better that I don't. But anyway, if you know, you've got not exactly a do-it-yourself, but it's, you know, not even perforated or anything like that, although perforations would probably be worse in the long run as to what you got. But yeah, you've got to cut the cards out yourself. I'm pretty sure you did not have to do this with the original game. I'm pretty sure the cards came already cut, but I'm not absolutely positive. I had a paper cutter back then, but I don't recall having to use it on you know, on the cards for Down in Flames. Let's take a look at some of the counters. So over here I've got pilot counters, which are part of the optional rules, and I'm not going to be I'm not going to pull them out. Well, not optional, but the campaign rules. But the main things we're going to be using here are these number hit counters, the altitude counters, some of which fell. I had a spill. Full throttle has agile on the other side for planes that qualify as that. These are the heavy guns. These are some other things that are used in the bombing campaign scenarios. This stuff I assume is used in the bombing campaign scenarios as well. We got cockpit hits here, clouds. These are for formation. These guys are, I believe, wow. There's a lot that are marked out of formation, which is a little weird. These guys are crews for the medium and heavy bombers. Again, part of the optional rules. I wanted to put the camera on a stand. I think maybe this is the game where I'm gonna be playing on a stand anyway, but I wanted to show you something first. All right, I think this should probably capture the view. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these cards. I haven't shuffled either deck. I'm gonna show you what it's like. And this is the thing with these hard deck cards. So you take this and try to shuffle it, and there's no play in the cards at all. You can't shuffle them, right? You can't do a bridge shuffle with them. You can kind of do this and jam them together or whatever. So what do you end up doing? Well, you got a couple options. You can cut the deck in half as if it were a much, much larger deck than it is. I would have no problem with normal poker cards. And then you can get enough strength. I mean, I guess it's my fingers that are the issue, and do this. The problem is, riffle shuffles like that end up damaging the cards when they're this kind of card as well. You're putting so much strength into it that I've noticed sometimes these hard cards end up having an issue with that. Or you can do this, but look, I'm just putting the cards in the same damn place. Now that's not the best way to shuffle with these. The best way is to figure out a way to grip and get some of the cards out. But I've never been good at that, right? I've always, this was the thing that worked, right? With any normal deck of cards, and it works pretty well with almost all game cards that are in play, except for tiny little ones nowadays. This is no problem for people who like to put condoms on their cards, but it's a fucking annoyance to anybody who doesn't. And if you put the condoms on your cards, you can't shuffle the damn things anyway. They fly all over the place. You see people at Magic tournaments, they spill them all out and swarm them around because they're not shuffleable anymore. And basically, you're in that kind of situation here. So I've got to shuffle these decks pretty well because they were all, very much sorted, as cards are when you first get them. And normally when I get a pack of cards, I'll shuffle normally when I grab a deck of cards, I'll shuffle it some 7 times, right? Because that's supposed to be the best randomization as long as you don't do a perfect shuffle. And that should pretty much move things around. First time I open up a new deck, I'll probably do it about twice that, maybe 13 times for luck or whatever. When I've got a larger deck, I also multiply that out. I'm not going to be able to shuffle these anywhere near that often without it taking a long time. Anyway, enough griping with that. I'll do my prep work and I'll be back. One of the things I want to note as I'm doing this has nothing to do with the shuffling. Well, it vaguely does. And see, I'm just basically pushing those cards in the midst. A packet of cards goes right in the midst, which also is not as good as what you would see elsewhere. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that this used to be, it may not be anymore because they're separate decks, but it used to be a game where cards had a tendency to clump together. And therefore, even once you got it shuffled the first time, and got things kind of sorted out pretty well. And there were also, like, there was one insta-kill card in each deck, and like 2 aces in the deck of cards for the game and whatnot. So there was a really limited number of certain cards. So you really had to shuffle the deck very well. And it would be pretty easy to keep control of where a card was if you knew. And see, I'm trying to put these in, but they end up, whatever packet I grab ends up just slicing the entire deck. I'm not good at that kind of shuffle, but what I find is I'm also not able to grab small amounts of cards. Like normally with a normal deck, I'll pull them like this and do this, but that'll like grab a bunch of individual cards. I'm finding these decks very, very difficult to shuffle. I always have. It's one thing that I never liked about, say, Twilight Struggle. And you can try to grind them in, and maybe you'll get like the packet you pick will split into 2 or whatever. It's just they're not designed. You would think that the armored cards are designed to be safer in all ways and better for the players, and maybe obviate any need for like putting a sleeve on the cards because they'll be more armored or whatever. I find they get damaged more easily. Just in general, like they're more rigid and therefore they get damaged easily. That which is built to bend under pressure deals with pressure better. But also if you shuffle or use them. And essentially there is no reason for them, because if you've got sleeves on your cards, you're protecting them already. Right? You're making it so that they're unshuffleable, so nobody's going to be able to arc shuffle them and damage them that way. And you're making it so that they're protected from other kind of hits. So for people who use sleeves, these cards make no advantage as far as I can tell. And they might be a little better because they're a little more sturdy in there, you know, if you step on one or something, I don't know, or if you drop it. I have no idea. I have no idea what would make it, you know, what the more armored version of the card makes sense for in terms of in sleeves. I don't think it really does, though. I think the sleeves should be enough protection. But what you end up with is cards that can no longer really be used as effectively. You can see, I have my way of working about it. I can only work at a half a deck at a time. If these were flexible cards, this would be about the size deck that I would have no problem handling. You get much bigger than this and it's hard, you know, but they've got no flex whatsoever, and it's just horrible. All right, enough on that. Huh? Test to see if this is going to work, and it's not. I can't capture everything on here. So screw it. I'll do what I always do. Hold on. A taller tripod that would stand back. It wouldn't come up much higher, but I could get a longer view. But you'd be looking at the game from here. You know, I just can't see how to operate with a tripod. I've seen some people do so. Whatever, you know, most gamers do. Maybe my choice of tripod is just not big enough, but you know, they need a big spread on the table if you're going to have it on the table, and it needs to be quite high up if it's not on the table, and I would knock it over if it was next to me, whatever. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a BF-10. This is really fucked up. So the earliest German plane available, if I wanted an Italian plane, that would be different, is a 1939 December plane, the BF-109E. I know the original Down in Flames had earlier planes in it. Now, this is for fighter planes. I looked through here. Yeah, sure. I got like Stuka, or no, I got this Junker. I got some Stukas, I think, that are from earlier in the 30s. There's some Junkers. But they're all bombers. Now, I do have the Stuka light bomber here, which could be used as a fighter, But you'll notice something about it. It doesn't have a point value. So what I wanted to do was sort of the earliest air battle that you can do in this game anymore. Used to be they had the poles, so you could do like a Russian-Polish fight, which was kind of a nice fight early on. Just to show some shitty planes fighting each other. These guys are, I don't know, these guys I think are Romanian and these are Hungarian. The Hungarians have BF-109Gs, so, you know. Anyway, which I guess you could sub in for the, you know, to give you more planes. But there's only one pair of BF-109Es, and there are not a hell of a lot of Soviet planes either. If we look here, what do I have? I have, I needed these I-6 tip 17s and the I-15 bis. I have no fucking clue. These look ancient. You know, what I'd love to do is have had a couple of these, but honestly, the points work out well. This is worth 4 points, this is worth 2 points, this is worth 4 with +2 for the wingman. So we've got, you know, a pair of BF-109Es, for some reason off on their own, you know, no squadron with them or anything. It always feels better to me to have like a minimum of 4 planes on a side and then balance it out as needed. And I would have kind of liked to have done, say, 6 and 4, 4. So 6, 6 is 12, 4, 4, 4 would be 12. That would have worked out really well. Not available because they put out so many different kinds of planes. Again, you can make your own or buy more, you know, I'm sure. I don't actually know if they sell excess plane, like if they sell this deck or the full set of deck, or if you have to buy a whole new set of Wild Blue Yonder, which might not be too bad, because if you got that many players, it might be nice to have multiple decks. That's what, Jesus. The guy's name was Mike. Might be Mike Lee, I don't know. Who used to run it at CSWE, I'm pretty sure. I'm not good with names. But anyway, he had, you know, bunches of copies of the game, some of which I think were given to him by GMT for running this event. But, you know, it was really a cool thing overall in a lot of ways. So I'm going to have 3 sets, or three pairings of planes, 2 Soviet, 1 German, and then for the beginning, and the mulligan rule is now been moved into the ace pilots, or the special pilots, they're not aces, the special pilots, which, okay, you know, it's like a capability that they have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 1, 2, 3, what do I have? I have a 6 performance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I can't guarantee anything about that shuffling. You know, my hands are tired, and this. Over here we have a 4 performance. Technically, we would pick our own heights at the beginning of the game. There's no way they're not being at very high. Like, if they could be, because that gives them an advantage on drawing. So we're going to put a very high here. And these guys are going to be patrolling at high if they both can be. They both can be. So we'll do that. And that'll keep track of what we got. What did we have here? 4 cards for him. And he also has 4 cards with a pretty decent performance, but a shitty horsepower in hand. Now we randomize 1 player who's going to go first. 1, 2, 3. He's going to go first. And the way we mark that is we give him this. That means he gets this. And that means, no, we got him on the wrong side. Does it matter? Yes. He's got the red deck. The 2 decks are exactly the same. I can't climb up to high, to very high. I can't do a damn thing about this plane. If we follow the sequence of play, though, there's here. Wingman step, my wingman can't do anything. Where's the wingman? He's here. Wingman can't do anything. Altitude step, I can't do shit. Leader step, okay, I look at my hand of cards. I have 2 in my sights, both require 1 burst. I have a maneuver which can give me a position. I have a tight turn which is a useful response. I am going to discard this card in my discard step, because I can't do shit. And I will draw a replacement for it. I'm allowed to draw one card with my horsepower, and my hand can only go up to 4. We got the altitudes here? Hold on. Let's look at the effect of altitude, because he might be back a card. I don't remember what the impact of altitude is. It's in here somewhere. Where the fuck are you? Not in the order I would put you. I flip cards and look. Altitude. Might be here. You'd think it was somewhere else. It's not. Altitude effects on ratings. Okay. At high altitude, subtract 1 from the horsepower unless turbocharged. Ooh, this is not turbocharged. I can't discard a... Okay, we will be at medium instead. We will be at medium instead. Because I can't discard that card and get a draw at that height. What is very high? Subtract 2 from the horsepower. I would still be there at very high. Okay. So I throw a card away and I draw a new card and I get to see it and la la la. Okay. Now we come to the Germans. What do? Let's find the sequence of play. Unfortunately, I'd have to flip through the rules. The altitude is not like here. This is really kind of obnoxious. Like, this is the player aid, as far as I can tell. The only player aid is on the back of here. There's one maybe on the back of the campaign too, which I know gives the sequence of play. Let me look and see if maybe there's a player aid card among all those campaign cards. Because they could fucking put it on one of these or one of these. I think they used to have that. I think there used to be a sequence of play and some other information on cards. I seem to remember that. That gave you the information that you needed for most play activity. I remember a hell of a lot about what 8th Air Force had, because I didn't have that. I had just the Rise of the Luftwaffe. Here's the player aid, and it is all shit that you need for the campaign game, rather than anything else. Resource card, you would think this would have it. No. No, I don't... This has all kind of weird shit in it. And then these are all campaign... So you got this weird combination of stuff. You got these, which, I don't know, I guess are your sort of scenarios, basically. But then you have these multi-turn progressive campaigns, which are what I really like. And then you have a pile of what look like, these piss me off. You got these campaign logs, which are basically just tons of these. Oh, we got this thing too, huh? Got these campaign log things, which look like... This one's all fucked up because it was in the box and was touching this. This thing, I don't know if you can't see it there. You can see some little black markings where the plastic bled into the cardboard. Well, it bled onto this too. So even if I photocopy it, now I'm going to have blurs. I highly doubt that comes off. Not nicely. Maybe with an eraser or something it would. But these, which basically look like they should be pieces of paper. But there may be just too many of them. Sure, you can photocopy them. I'm wondering if I could use a China marker on them and erase. They're slick enough that maybe I could, in which case they're awesome. If I can't do that and I'd have to put it in a plastic sleeve, they would, what I found is if you accidentally leave something in a plastic sleeve for too long, the plastic sleeve will take the ink off of it and it'll actually like remove some of the printing off of material. I don't know if it would happen with that, but it happens with photocopied material. Okay, where the hell am I? I just did this plane. We're going to move the die around as my indicator. That means it's his turn. We needed the sequence of play, but we also needed to know what very high was, and we don't have that. Luckily, we have all this, all this paper for the extended sequence of play. I guess that's useful. I'm always iffy on it. Like, I don't read examples if I don't need them, and I know this game more or less, so I kind of know I don't need it, but we look for what we had before again, the altitude effect on ratings. Not on a cheat sheet, not on a cheat card, not on anything. I feel like they kind of went cheap on this. Like, in terms of not putting enough copies of planes, making sure they got every plane in it. And I'm gonna have multiple copies. What I'm gonna have multiple copies of is the stuff from the squadron packs, the fighter and bomber squadron packs. I probably don't need it for the bombers because they fucking give you a ton of each bomber because the bombers fly in formation, so you need a bunch of them. It doesn't make sense to have like just a couple B-17s, but it means you won't have enough fighters of a homogeneous type to attack it, which you normally would be attacking it with. You wouldn't be attacking with like multiple planes of different types. But what I'm going to have is what's in the fighter and bomber pack, which is weird because those are extra. They're kind of less commonly used planes, which I probably only have one of each in here in general other than the bomber pack. But what it means is sort of the most common planes that came out in the original game or in 8th Air Force, I am not going to have enough copies of. I'm not going to have the same amount that I would have if I had gotten the original games. Now, the game has changed a little bit. There's new cards in it. There's new settings on some of these, I think. So it's a little different. Anyway. We take a look. Very high is -2 from horsepower. Okay. We can remember this, right? It's not that complicated. Wingman can't do anything. Yeah, we can't remember. Altitude is next. I should make a little slip of paper. Well, I'll go high. That gets me an extra card. Now, right now I have... Actually, I could stay up there if I want. So I have a bunch of scissorses, which are great cards when you're in fight. These are all, hold on, let's stay up here. These are all cards that, let's leave this at 1 to indicate it's the first turn. That'll be my turn counter. There is actually like a turn counter and or something, but it doesn't have the numbers on it. You need to have a track. So these are all defensive cards. I'm not sure I want them. This is a powerful attack card, but I'd need a 3 burst to be able to shoot it. The tight turn is just a response card. I am going to stay at very high. No, I don't have much draw. These guys are at medium. Do I want to come down? Let's come down a level to high. They could conceivably draw up there. I draw another card. I get another fucking tight turn. That's not pleasant. See, I can disengage just by going very high. I'm gonna get all high. All right. Now I have a 2 horsepower, which is down to a 1. I could discard a bunch of cards to draw 1 card. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would have to discard 2. I'm going to discard a pair of scissors. That's excessive. Why are there so many in one place? Probably because I didn't shuffle well because of the fucking cards. And that allows me to draw 1 my horsepower has been decreased. I get a full throttle, which is maybe useful. Improve position 1 towards neutral if disadvantaged or tailed. Yeah, I still don't have anything, you know, that allows me to engage someone. Now, with him, he takes a look at his hand of cards. Is that wingman? His wingman can't do shit. What do I have? Oh, lots of the same card, too. This is going to be so much fun until I eventually get these decks shuffled, isn't it? I mean, I tried. I must have shuffled those at least 12 times each. I don't know. Like, each half. Each set of pairs of half or whatever. At least 12 times. And we're getting these clumpings. And it's going to be a permanent problem with the game because, again, cards tend to clump. Like, it's not going to be as bad as it was with a single deck where you'd see, like, you know, an in my sights is followed by this, is followed by that. You just have this certain sequence because they're going to be being discarded into different decks. But you will have a tendency to have, like, a maneuver card followed by a fire card followed by a response card in sequence to try, you know, to counter, to deal with whatever's being countered or stuff like that, or a maneuver followed by a counter, whatever. And you might see piles of these being thrown away all at once because I got too many of them. Well, I don't want to so this gets rid of barrel rolls, which these don't. I have 2 horsepower. Let's get rid of 1 of each. We're not actually, you know, we're not going to try to climb to high. We could, and then we draw 2 cards because we have a 2, and we get a barrel roll, a maneuver which actually allows us to do something. This is pretty fucking exciting since everybody's got hands full of defense. All right, that's the end of the first plane phase. And part of it is that, look, these planes could start at very high, so they did, right? These planes, one of them can't operate. It can go up to high, but it doesn't have the horsepower to draw cards, so it doesn't want to fight up there. So, you know, we had that issue. But we also have shit cards. All right, I'm going to take a pause because this is getting ludicrous. It really is. I feel lucky I've played this game before so that I know how it's supposed to go. Because otherwise, I would probably be puzzling over these cards saying, well, how do I fucking do anything? I wouldn't realize that they're just clumping, right? I would just be seeing cards that don't allow me to get hits, and I'd be looking through the rules trying to understand what the fuck goes on here. Mainly because I wouldn't read the thing. Okay, here we are. We're at medium. I could... Wingman step can't do a shit because I'm at a different level. Altitude step. What's final step? Advance the turn marker. Yeah, we did that. Okay. I could throw a card and climb up, but I don't want to do that. I'm willing to deal with a tie or whatever. And with these shitty planes, what the hell? Okay, so I'm going to look at this. I got 2 maneuver. That gets me, that could get me up to tailing. I've got 1 in my sights, and then I've got a defensive card. The defensive card is really important. I think I'll just keep my cards. Come over here. How's my hand? It's a pile of shit. It's a bunch of cards that can only be used defensively and in my sights. I'm at high. My throttle, my horsepower is only 1 at this point, right? That's what it is. Its horsepower gets subtracted by 1 at high. No. And I'm not turbocharged, am I? I don't see anything that looks like I am. Okay. Well, I don't want to go down and fight with this hand. This is shit. So, since I have a draw of 1, I'll throw this away, and I'll draw a card. It's another in my sights, but I can't get someone in my sights. Now, I could come down and just fight with Wingman, but that's a shitty thing to do. You don't want that. You want a handful of cards, right? Okay, up to this guy. Now, he could conceivably climb, but he's got a bunch of fucking defense in his hand. I have, I'm at medium. I have up to 2 card draw. I want to keep the 2 defenses. This seems like too much, but I like keeping defenses because he could swoop down and attack me at any time. It's going to be hard for me to attack. I don't want to go up because then I'm a sitting duck, right? So I'll grab another maneuver. Now we're on turn 3. Remember, there's only 6 turns. He's just going to fly over us. All right. We're on turn 3. Let's see what we got here. I have 2 maneuvers, and in my sights, I'm getting sick of this. My wingman can't do shit. If I fly to high, I get rid of this, but I'm not functional at high. Could I get really lucky? Not really. This just does 2 hits. That's all it does. There's no luck in the game. You can see how much damage you're going to do to the enemy if you hit them. There's some games where it's like an attack sub is one of them, where you can line up a shot, but you don't know what the shot does until you flip another card to see what it does. And there's these hits and misses, but those are for bombing raids. So, and I think this is for strafing, I don't know. You know, do I want to climb up, make myself a target? This has the capability of avoiding something. I'll just stay. I'm happy with my hand. I just don't want to fly up against these better planes, even though there's 4 of me. Let's go to this. Oh, look. Handfuls of defense. And then these in my sights. Do I want a 3 burst for 3 hits or a 1 burst for 1 hit? You know, I mean, this would wipe this thing out. No, not quite. But it would damage either plane. This is a pretty good shot, but I don't have anything that'll get me there. I'm flying at high altitude, so I only get 1 card. So I'll throw this. I get a card back. I get a barrel roll. Great, more defense. Excellent. Come over here. What's he got? He's got 2 maneuvers and 2 of these. Now, I know that he's got a barrel roll. This is kind of where things get problematic. I could go up to high, discarding something, but I have no firepower. And this is what sucks. I want these defenses in case he comes down. I want these if I'm going to attack, but I don't have anything that I can use. So, I'm allowed to draw 2 cards. I'm going to discard both of these and draw 2 new cards. Okay, I get an out of the sun, which is a pretty good shot. I have 2 maneuvers and an out of the sun. I actually could attack at this point if it were my turn to do so. But now it's turn 4 over here. This is fun, isn't it? All right, let me swap batteries. All right. Let's see what we got here. It's the same. He's still got the same cards in his hand. They're good cards if this guy fucking comes down, but he's not coming down, so... Yep. Okay. Bunch of defense. I got these, which are only useful if you've got somebody on you. These, which are responses, which are useful. I'm at high altitude. I can throw 1 card. Let's see. Which one do I want to get rid of? I think scissors is more interesting. I'll drop that. And I'll draw a card. I got a maneuver. Maybe I can do something. Okay. These I-16s. What's up with them? I got shit. I got this chop throttle. So I could go into a fight with no responses whatsoever. I don't know what the fuck he's up to. He could be, you know, gathering up responses and whatnot. But instead, what I'm going to do, because I want to get a kill, you know, you always want to get a kill, right? I'm going to climb to high. I'm going to throw this chop throttle away. I'm going to play a maneuver to get him. Now, what can counter a maneuver? Let's look at his cards. He has a tight turn. That counters maneuver. None of these do. Do I want to play it? I do. So I throw this, and that will counter his maneuver. He has another maneuver. He will play another maneuver. This one's canceled. I didn't have a response to that tight turn. I have another maneuver. He has a maneuver, but that doesn't help. He has nothing else. So his plane is going to be like this. I am advantaged by them. I have an out of the sun with 2. I have 1 burst, 1 advantage. I'm going to hit him for 3. Okay. This does not counter out of the sun, and this doesn't either. So we get 3 hits, and this is going to be on the main pilot. I didn't declare I was attacking the wingman, so in general it's going to be hits on the main. And that was a success. So we shot the shit out of him. We've got an advantage on him. We're at high, so we get 1 card. Things ain't so hot right now, but we can duck back down later. Okay, that puts us to the 5th turn. This guy got rid of all of his card, or got rid of a card. He doesn't get to draw again until the end of his next turn, which is why being ganged up on is bad, because somebody can shoot you up in that way. All right. I gotta look at the rules. I don't think I can hit him, but I think I can. I know I can't hit him, but I can shoot his wingman. So yeah, I don't have to look at the rules. I'm going to climb from medium to high. That forces me to discard 1. There goes a tight turn. I'll keep the maneuvers because they're hard to get. I don't get my wingman because if you look at the sequence of play, wingman happens before the altitude step, which is, just to keep that in mind, I'm going to play a maneuver on his wingman. Now his wingman is being affected. So he gets a 2-card hand. Is that impacted by being at high altitude? Wingman effects. High altitude, subtract 1 from the defensive rating. Very high, subtract 1 from both. I get 1 card. Can I counter the maneuver? I cannot. In fact, I can't counter shit. Okay. So I've gotten 1 extra burst. I'm up to a 1 burst. That's all I need, so I might as well keep this card. I'm going to fire at him, at his wing, for 2 hits. He doesn't have a counter. So there's 2 hits on the wingman. Now I'm up here at high. I have no horsepower. Like my horsepower is negative, is 0 now. So we go over to here. Let me look at my hand. Doesn't really matter. I'm just looking at it for various and unimportant reasons. So I have 2 things. My wingman is going to draw 2 cards, and he's going to attack the lead fighter of these I-16s. So I get these 2 cards. This is my mini hand. This hand is put aside. I don't get to use it. I have 2 things. Improve the position by exactly 2 or gain 2 extra bursts against a wingman or formation aircraft. That's very, very helpful. Or I can adjust the position to neutral and get a cloud. I don't think wingmen can play clouds, but they can play the half loop in this position. So we've done this. And that's my wingman that did this. Hold on. Does he have a counter to a half loop? He does not. He has one card. They're up too high for these planes. All right. Now I go to my leader. And now I'm advantaged. I have all kinds of shit. I know he doesn't have much of a hand. I keep these. These are really useful. I play a maneuver to tail him. He has a counter to maneuver. He'll play that. Do I have a counter to a tight turn? I do. This counters a tight turn. He's got no more cards, so he can't respond. So we have successfully gotten into a tailing position on him. That means that I now have 4 bursts. I can put 4 bursts into him. He has no cards, so I really don't care. It doesn't matter what order I do them in. Do I want to throw all these? Yeah. So I'm going to throw 4 bursts at him. They all hit, and they do 4 hits. It's not always the same as the number of bursts, just as a... That's going into his lead fighter, which is easier to pick on. This guy would get a card to defend himself. So I don't grab a 4. Well, I do grab a 4. But 4 is enough to destroy that plane. It dies. The way we mark that it's dead is that we pull the wingman off, and now we're in this position. We still keep the tailing. He gets a new hand of cards, though, equal to 1 less than his performance. We're done. We get a card for our horsepower. This comes here. Now the fight's almost over, but we've shot down a plane, which is worth... So this is the thing. The planes were equal, but this is worth X amount of points, whatever that is. It's not based on the valuation of the planes, which is a little fucked up. Like shooting these things down, these are really easy to kill. But we're on his turn. He has no wingman, so he doesn't get a wingman phase. If he had one, the wingman could try to, you know, undo this tailing position or maybe get a lucky shot off or something. Instead, though, I have clouds if I need it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to maneuver. You have a counter for maneuver? He does not. Now we're like this. Now I scissors. Do you have a counter to scissors? He does not. So now it's like this. Now I don't want to play the clouds anymore. So I'll keep that. It's useful for out of the suns. Hey, he has one of those. How about that? I could have dove. Might be good because of the position I'm in, but there's something cool about having the 3 planes against 1, although I don't get to draw any cards. Yeah, I probably should have just dove. Whatever. I would have been followed if I had dived. I get 1 card back. Okay. That puts us to turn 6. This is the last turn of the game. I get a wingman phase. My wingman has 1 card. He has no defense. Oh, I've got 3 against this. I don't know if that affected anything. I don't think so. When was he hit? I should be back a card. I didn't get a draw because I'm at 0. Okay. I don't know what that card is. I probably looked at it, but... So I'm here. I get to take a shot with my wingman. I'm going to go for a lucky shot and try to take down his main fighter. I get 1 card. So full throttle. Improve position by 1 towards neutral if disadvantaged or tailed. I think I can do this. This was the situation I want to look up. hold on. No, this situation is disallowed. I'm not allowed to maneuver against a wing. A wingman's not allowed to maneuver against a wingman. So this is a useless card. I didn't get my shot in. I'm only allowed to attack the wingman with this. So that's 6. I don't get any cards. Go to him. I'm at high altitude. I have shit in my hand. I could climb and get out of here, which looks like the best move. I'll climb to very high. I discard this. I am no longer engaged. He's not able to follow. Since this is the 6th turn, it goes here. We have a fight that is over at this point. We take a look at the victory. Okay, I don't think there are points listed here. I thought there were victory points listed. Might be in the campaign game only. I don't know. How do you win? I thought they had a point system in this. See, it's so fucked up because they cut the rules. They moved some of the rules into the other thing. So they've got like balancing, destroyed aircraft. For determining victory, 4.9.3. That should be in here. There we go. Okay, 5 points for each enemy fighter destroyed. So I get 5 for killing that. And 2 for each enemy fighter damaged or voluntarily disengaged, not end of game disengaged. So it's basically a 5-2 game. The Germans won it. Wasn't much of a fight. I guess I need to shuffle the hell out of the cards a lot more than I was able to. I mean, I did what I thought was a good amount, but like my hands got so fucking tired with those stiff fucking cards that it just didn't work well. All right, I'll swap batteries. We'll load this up, and you've seen a really unexciting battle of Wild Blue Yonder. But I can tell you, if you can get the cards to shuffle reasonably, eventually, however you do that. And I mean, I do not trust those mishmash shuffles that Magic players do with their fucking card condoms on. Like, it just feels so... It doesn't feel like you're really getting a good shuffle there either. Right? The only way I know to get a good shuffle is what I tried doing with the bridge shuffles. And yeah, that's just not working. And I think we'll try to fight another one. Maybe with better deck of cards. Maybe with more equal planes. Because these guys couldn't go up to that very high height. And generally planes will meet at the highest altitude they can get. That's the thing I learned from the CSWE campaign that I was playing, is that because I played enough games of it all at once, is that you always pick the highest altitude that your planes can reach. You know, and if some of the planes can't reach that highest if some of them can't reach that highest altitude, you might go lower. So like this one at medium to help protect this thing. But in general, you want your formation at the highest altitude the formation as a whole can reach. And you might even split planes if you don't know what you're facing with the enemy. Like, you might be like, well, let's leave some at very high and some at high, depending on how many planes you have, with the idea that, like, you know, 4 planes can protect each other, two sets, and the other 4 at the higher altitude can always dive down if they need to in order to provide more support up there. Anyway, up it goes.